What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Jericho Report Weekly News Briefing. It is Sunday, the 25th of June, 2023. Here we are at the end of June. How do you want your doom this week? Do you want imploded submarines? Do you want the Wagner Group turning on Putin, but then everything's okay? I mean, it's just a whole myriad of things going down this week. We're going to get into it. As always, the first link below will take you over to the Patreon post. That's where we can find all. Let's start off where we normally start off, okay? Fauci, go home. America's former top doc greeted with protests in Italy as he warns of COVID comeback. Fauci is warning of COVID comeback. FYI, Rep. Jim Jordan grills the CDC lady over lies about COVID transmission. And before you call this medical misinformation, YouTube, I'll just play a little bit of this for you.
March 29, 2021. Vaccinated people do not carry the virus. Vaccinated people don't get sick. We got that information
This is
from
what they
clinical
told the
trials,
people, yes?
but also real-world data. Seems to me there are a number of statements you make in there that aren't accurate. Do vaccinated people carry the virus?
In March of 2021, the vast majority of data demonstrated that the vast majority of people were not getting infected if they were vaccinated.
That's not what you said. You didn't say the vast majority of people.
And we're the ones spreading medical misinformation. Tell it to Big Pookie Pokey, whatever his name is. Houston rapper collapses on stage at 45. Was it something to do with something? I don't know. I'll put a link to it. Killer crisis, maybe it was heart disease. And strokes have killed 100,000 more people than expected since pandemic struck. Imagine that. I wonder what's causing that. Put a link to it. We got Hunter Biden news this week. Hunter Biden to plead guilty to federal tax crimes, takes deal on gun charge. Of course, he's going to get off with just a slap on the wrist. This as Hunter Biden failed to pay taxes on $8.3 million in income. DOJ rejected U.S. attorney bid to bring charges in Washington, D.C. Of course, you know, he's a somebody. He's not going to have this. Listen to this guy.
Not one, but two IRS employees are blowing the whistle with evidence that the federal government is not treating taxpayers equally when enforcing tax laws.
Nothing will come of this. Little fine, little, probation. It'll be buried. We all know it. Indian PM gifts the president's wife 7.5 carat eco-friendly green diamond. Goes to Dr. Jill, that from the Gateway Pundit. Speaking of Biden, check this out. An embarrassing moment this week when Joe Biden realizes it's the Indian national anthem, not ours. Just watch this for a second. This is just a perfect analogy for our country. So sadly true. You get the message there? Speaking of Joe Biden, he wants to explain to you what a pistol brace is.
Made it harder for people to buy stabilized bracelets. Put a pistol on a brace, it turns into a gun. Makes it more, you can have a higher caliber weapon,
Put a pistol on a brace, it turns into a gun. Yeah, but what do you expect from him? He's taking the short stairs nowadays. Back home in California, he takes the short stairs up to Air Force One. Somebody get this man a motorized chair. And I got one in Donald Trump news. This is very interesting what she's saying
Having
here.
Trump not only have had the codes, but now having the classified information for Americans and being able to put that out and share it in his resort with anyone and everyone who comes through should be terrifying to all Americans, and he needs to be stopped.
United States Secret Service care to chime in over to financial news. How major U.S. stock indexes fared on Friday, 6/23. What happened in the markets this week? On Friday, the Dow Jones fell 219 points, closed at 33,727. For the week, it was down 571. Oh noes! Put a link to the market recap data. Biden's armed IRS agents already making raids. GOP congressman demands answers. Put a link to this from Western Journal. Be advised, IRS. They're not coming for Hunter. I know that. United Nations orders banks worldwide to mandate digital IDs mandatory for all customers. Of course they do. Of course they do. You know, not everything predict this stuff years ago. Ukraine, BlackRock and JP Morgan set up brand new reconstruction bank. British taxpayers pay another $3 billion in reconstruction in Ukraine. And look at this. The Pentagon. This is brand new stuff now. Pentagon, accounting error, provides extra $6.2 billion for Ukraine military aid. Imagine, it was an accounting error. Another $6.2 billion U.S. taxpayer dollars gone. You don't mind, do you? Put a link to this brand new article. Tax dollars hard at work. Military monitors social media for mean posts about generals. You better not be talking things about our generals. Major League Baseball, latest brand to be humbled by anti-pride outrage. We got the agenda stuff here. We got Coors Light embraces Denver Pride Parade despite potential backlash. Put a link to that. Bud Light, crack a cold one. We're going to have an epic summer ahead. Yeah, people are responding to this. Check it out. Just for you, Bud Light, I made a video of replies you've currently hidden. Seriously, no one will notice this. Some of these are pretty hilarious, I gotta admit. I mean, I don't think it's an attack on. It's not an attack on gay people or transgender people or anything. It's Bud Light, tranny fluid. I mean, come on, that's funny. I laughed my ass off when I saw that, and it's not an insult to anyone. It's the ridiculous reality we're living in. Is what it is. I got a couple in miscellaneous news. Medical director, Planned Parenthood, Los Angeles, caught undercover discussing selling baby parts for money. Put a link to that. And Amazon Prime, is accused of enrolling customers into Prime without consent, making it hard to cancel. Over to New World Order and Police State News. This is where I stop and ask you, please share this report. There's a lot of important stuff coming up here. Check it out. UN unveils automated fact-checking tool to counter disinformation with big tech Soros-funded orgs. Of course, it's from Breitbart. More clampdown on the internet, automation coming in. Here's the tweet from the UN development themselves. They say misinformation, disinformation, hate speech threaten peace and security, disproportionately affecting those who are already vulnerable. They call it E-Verify. You can click here to go over to their website and read more about this E-Verify system. Obama calls for digital fingerprints so that police can arrest people who share non-mainstream news. Police can arrest people who share non-mainstream news. You get that? Put a link to it. Gateway Pundit puts this out. We're over to the agenda now. Of course, 69-year-old grandmother with cancer given more prison time for walking inside U.S. Capitol. Hunter Biden shares classified documents, gets off with a slap on the wrist. Isn't it something? Isn't it something how the rules only apply to the peasants? Check this out. Dallas PD, miscellaneous here, will require mandatory online reporting of certain non-emergency offenses through Dallas Police online reporting system. Let's see. If you're a victim of an accident, harassing phone calls, burglary of a motor vehicle, graffiti, theft, credit card, debit card abuse, criminal mischief, reckless damage, identity theft, lost property, theft of service, burglary of a coin machine, shoplifting, interference with child. If you're a victim of any of that, you can't call the Dallas Police Department. You have to fill out a form online. Yeah, crazy. Now we're over to the agenda. Christie says transgender procedures on minors should be allowed at parents' consent. Put a link to that. Republican mayor betrayed after refusing to fly LGBT pride flag, kicked out of his own party members. Put a link to this from the Western Journal. The president of Human Rights Campaign can't clarify what a woman is. Let's see what this is.
Ms. Robinson, do you agree with Ms. Gaines that there's a difference between women and men?
If the question is about trans women...
I'm just asking, is there a difference between women and men?
What I can say here is that the NCAA has rules in place. They've had rules in place for the last decade, and when this competition happened,
I'm going to try again.
The rules were clear.
Do you believe there's a difference between women and men? It's a yes-no question. Do you believe there's a difference?
Oh, I think that we're talking about...
It goes on like that. Man dressed as woman denied kids were in home filled with alcohol, drugs, sex toys, dead body, police say. Speaking of men dressed as women, put a link to that. Schools are allowing children to identify as horses, dinosaurs, and cats as pupils communicate with animal noises. I wish I was making this shit up. Put a link to it. Couple more here. The world's oldest secret society being torn apart over transgenderism, infiltrating its ranks. I don't know if I believe that, but wow, that's true. And I got one in immigration news. This is harrowing. This is what endless mass immigration has brought to peaceful societies around the world. Check this out. What happens here? This guy rolls up, acts innocent, then grabs this girl. Look at this. Look at this. Luckily, the girl gets away from the guy. I have no words. Actually, yes, I do, and I'll just say this. An armed society is a polite society. Know what I mean? Over to World War III news. Now, I don't know what's going on with this Wagner Group thing, man. When I went to sleep, they were talking about the Wagner Group has turned on Putin, and they're marching to Moscow to take Putin out. When I got up, it's like, oh, they changed their mind. They're not going to Moscow. Everything's just fine. They're going to go to Belarus. I don't know what's going on with this. This is craziness, though. I mean, I went to bed thinking, man, I might not be able to get up and do the report. It might be nuclear World War III going on. Lindsey Graham preparing for false flag nuclear disaster in Ukraine. Did you see this? He wants to trigger Article 5, get U.S. directly involved in ground forces to fight Russia. Here's a tweet, and here's a little bit of a video of them
introducing a resolution today.
Introducing the resolution.
Since the Senate resolution that says that if Russia or Belarus, or a proxy of Russia, explodes a nuclear device inside of Ukraine to stop the counteroffensive or to try to break the will of the Ukrainian people, such an attack should be considered an attack on NATO itself.
Shit's getting serious, people. Might be the cause of all this weird stuff with the Wagner Group all of a sudden. I don't know. Very, very unsettling. Ukraine says Russia considering nuclear plant terror attack. Moscow denies it, that from Reuters. But they also say Ukraine warns against panic after alleged nuclear threat, that from Inside Paper. Russia says Ukraine planning massive attack on Crimea with U.S. missiles. Putin also wants you to know that he's terrifying news saying 2 missiles capable of carrying 10 nukes will be deployed for combat duty in the near future. June 21. All this crazy stuff going on around the Operation Blackjack date is interesting to me. Let's see. Running away, faking breakdowns. German media says Leopard 2 tankman reluctant to fight Russia. That from a source I'm not familiar with. We got this guy here. You know, they said they were letting all these people out of prison over in Russia to fight. Well, apparently they get this guy out, and he went on a rampage. I guess, is that on a train or something? Killed a bunch of people. I don't know. Put a link to it. NATO Arsenal's reportedly almost empty. They say they're going to have to fire up the military-industrial complex to restock. Well, there's tons of money to be made for the military-industrial complex, no doubt. We got drone footage appears to show explosive rig car atop the this is the follow-up on the dam that collapsed. I don't know. Take it for what you will. We got this. Listen to this. This is very important. Listen.
On Taiwan, I reiterated the long-standing U.S. One China policy. That policy has not changed. It's guided by the Taiwan Relations Act, the 3 joint communiques, the 6 assurances. We do not support Taiwan independence. We remain opposed to any unilateral changes to the status quo by either side.
Wow. Let that sink in. And the Chinese military facility in Cuba in the works 100 miles from U.S. shores, says the Wall Street Journal. I mean, make no mistake. We are living in a time of imminent doom from so many different... I wouldn't surprise me to wake up and see the Operation Blackjack and World War III all popping off at the same time simultaneously all across the world. Craziness. Everyone please remain vigilant. Over to Earth Changes in 2012 news. We had a 6.0 quake on the 18th and a 6.4 on the 18th. I got it set up for quake 6 points and above the past week. It dropped down to 5. A lot of 5s going on around the world as usual. The Earth's rocking and rolling. Put a link to the data. Happy summer solstice. It's the first day of summer, longest day of 2023. What it means, I want to wish everyone a safe and happy summer. Put a link to this. Tornado kills 4, causes significant damage down in Texas. Again, tornadoes all across the south this week. People dead, property destroyed. This guy here, this is the great demonstration of what not to do. This man in Moss Point, Mississippi, rode out the tornado in his truck. Let me just fast forward just a little bit. And he finds out in a hurry.
What the f***?
It's not where you want to be, man.
Help!
Luckily, I think he comes through it okay, but he's got a lot of vehicle damage. Well, it's a tornado guy. Now we got this. We got this tourist submarine exploring Titanic wreckage disappears off the Atlantic Ocean, says the Coast Guard. Everyone was holding out hope that the submarine just lost contact with the surface and, you know, we were going to find it before their air ran out. Turns out it imploded. At least that's what we're being told. You know, people went on and on over the years about how this thing wasn't safe and all this. I don't know, man. My hearts go out to the families, but, you know, they knew the risk involved. They made this. There's a story here. If you scroll down and watch this CBS story, tells you about the waiver that you have to sign if you go down in this thing. How this thing is controlled with like a PlayStation wireless controller and all this craziness. And how when you're bolted in there with like 17 bolts on the window or something, so even if you do surface, you can't get out. They might suffocate anyway. This whole thing was just a disaster from the start, I think. Expedition Unknown host says he dove in the Titanic Sub, decided against going down again to film it. Did not perform well, the sub did, he said. Rest in peace to everyone on board. You know, it really sucks for the kid. That was a 17-year-old kid or whatever that was just there because he wanted to be with his dad on Father's Day. This implosion happened, they say, like in milliseconds. They didn't see it coming. It just... Power of the ocean is not to be messed with, man. Titan submarine maker OceanGate faced lawsuits in 2018, potential danger to passengers. Again, they all signed the waiver. They knew what could possibly happen. We got other news going on. Paris explosion, 30 injured after blast. I think we had a gas explosion in Paris. We had another one over in China. Barbecue restaurant explosion kills 31 after gas leak. Interesting. We got this here. Greek Coast Guard denies claims refugee boat capsized over tow rope attached. Craziness in the water. And I got one at the bottom. Scientists demonstrate wireless power transmission from space to Earth for the first time. And a lot of people speculate that this submarine story was some sort of a diversion or some sort of psyop to divert us away from the whole Hunter Biden thing. But we all know Hunter Biden's not going to suffer any consequences. I mean, it's interesting timing, but I don't think it was a fake story because this sub has, if you look back at it, it has documented history. I mean, you go back to their YouTube channel, you go to their website, there's the documented history of this thing. So it was interesting timing, but no, I think it was just it wasn't made for the depth that it was traveling to, and then that carbon fiber just finally shattered. Had enough. I don't know. It's tragic. It sucks, but they knew the risk involved. Over to strange and bizarre news. We got a lot of strange news to go over. 12 killed, more than 100 shot in Juneteenth celebrations across the U.S. 12 killed, more than 100 shot in Juneteenth celebrations. Yeah. Parking lot party leaves 1 dead, 22 people hurt up in Chicago. Big goings on in Chicago. We had this going on over in Milwaukee. It was popping off. Ooh. Isn't this supposed to be a celebration of the abolishment of slavery or something like that? 5 suspects sought in shooting. Yeah, 2 o'clock in the morning last Saturday night. We have an EMS supervisor declaring a mass casualty incident. All these kids shot up on the 5th floor of this building downtown. And our mayor, the mayor of the city of St. Louis, I don't know her dumbass name, she gets up on Twitter and immediately, this is why we need more gun laws. If we had more gun laws, this wouldn't happen. Let me ask my stupid bitch mayor, do the people on the screen look like the kind of people who are going to follow any sort of new gun law? Are you kidding me? The thugs running around this city going to put their firearms away because you passed some new law? Anyway, I'll put a link to that. Out in LA, we had this. Teens looting McDonald's. Look at this. I mean, tell me, if we banned firearms, would it take care of problems like this? Do you think the McDonald's employees ought to be able to be armed to defend their lives? Look at this. A celebration of the abolishment of slavery.
They're not even see. Oh, they taking it. I think they're registered. This nigga took the register. He stole the cash register.
Boy, your ancestors would be so proud of what you become. That's not a racist statement. It pisses me off. UCLA diversity official says white people should work for free on Juneteenth. Put a link to that. This lady here, she seems nice.
If you are not black, if your skin is not brown, if you are not melanated, then you do not have the right to come under my videos talking back to my people. Your opinions are not wanted, nor are they relevant. So
this is why racism will never go away. Shit like that. Graduation fight goes viral. Student says, "You didn't let me get my moment." They don't put the video at the top. You got to scroll down here. This is the girl who caused the disturbance. And if you scroll down even further, I don't know why they put the video all the way at the bottom.
Okay, let's go. You didn't let me get my moment, so I want to say my name is Khadija Tadiano, and I'm graduating today. I don't like how you snatched the mic out of my hand, so today is going to be all about me.
Oh, drops the mic.
Put a link to it. Connecticut Man allegedly drowned mother in river to keep her away from the demons, or to keep the demons away from him. I didn't look into that. I don't want to. He wasn't expecting that. Dude gets run over by, pinned under a golf cart.
Watch out.
This guy's throwing stuff through this guy's window over here. Now watch this. He probably wasn't expecting this. Whoa, there, that one went through the glass. Whoa. I thought for a second he was going to go into the water, but he just pins the guy under the cart there. I don't know what's going on. Furious woke teacher scolded pupil for rejecting classmates' claim she identified as a cat. And I got one at the bottom. ACLU complains as man who raped and murdered 2 people, including a 14-year-old girl, wasn't able to get his sex change before he was executed. Oh, boo-hoo. For all the news, please check my favorite videos. Man, there's tons of good stuff over there. We got an update on the Wagner Group and the mercenary stuff going on over there. Flying chairs, debris hit apparently a strong storm at sea, taking out cruise passengers. There are no bodies to recover. Implosion was so rapid. Former U.S. Navy captain. We got a lot of the stuff on the sub over there. And yeah, the way that implosion happened. I mean, if you watch the movie The Abyss, when coffee goes over the cliff, goes down, that's exactly what would happen. Just, poof, and you just instantly dust. Titan Tragedy. This guy here, here's a 20-minute video that'll break down really good. This guy was awesome at breaking down that sub and what he thought the problem was going to be, and he turned out to be right. Hunter Biden plea deal. Hunter groundbreaking press conference. That's pretty funny there. Just all kinds. Sign language translator gives President Biden monograph. Put out a go in there. Mark Dice has got to go in there. Man, check out my favorites. Good stuff over there. Thank you to everybody still putting out content. You guys are doing awesome. I got one shout out this week. I want to give a shout out to the United States Coast Guard. At least the way the tweet reads, Coast Guard stops narco submarine carrying 232 million worth of cocaine. Very intense video here. I just want to check this out for a second. I think the Coast Guard are some of the most unappreciated people. You know, people that we don't think about a lot. Just like your first responders, you know. You don't really think about firemen or paramedics until you need them, you know what I mean? But these guys that are guarding the coast from invaders, you know, the ones that aren't fighting for the New World Order, just trying to keep the country safe. Check out, watch this. I just love how they put this submarine. This so risky what they do here. Open the door! You got it. Right on. Shout out to the Coast Guard. Not only for that, but for their response to this whole submarine incident. It was so cool to see so much equipment come together so fast. Because everyone thought that maybe the sub was just sitting on the bottom. Maybe it was just, you know. It turns out they died instantly. There's nothing anyone could have done. And no, I don't think it was a false story. I think it absolutely happened. I think it was very poor engineering, and the guy who built the sub knew it, and everyone knew it. There was warnings about this sub for years. That's all I got for this week. If you like the report, please give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. If you think it sucked, it's the worst. You never want us again. Please rate, though. It helps it move around. You can also support me on Patreon or directly with DonorBox. If you like these reports, you want to help keep them going, I definitely appreciate any support. Definitely follow me on my links below. The Twitters, the BitChutes, the Gabs, the Rumbles, all the links are at the bottom. Tell me your thoughts. What's going on with this Wagner group? We're going to go, this apparent coup attempt, and then everything's okay again. They're going to go to Moscow. They're going to take out Putin. Now they're going to Belarus. Tell me your thoughts on the sub. Whether you think it was false or a real thing. I'm interested to hear what everyone's got to say about the news in general. I read every comment, and here's how you know if I read your comment. If you get the heart from me, I heart every comment I read. You know, I don't have enough time to respond to everybody. If you ask me a question, I'll probably respond. But if I give that comment a heart, that means I read it. And I read every comment. I truly do. And I really enjoy hearing other people's thoughts, you know, because maybe there's stuff that I'm missing or getting wrong, and I appreciate anybody's input. Say, oh, and it's not like this, it might be like that. You know, is this how we learn things? Anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me for a few minutes on a Sunday while I give you the news. You guys take care, stay safe, have a good rest of the weekend, have a good week. Here comes July. What will it bring? I don't know. You guys take care, stay safe. I love you very much. Remain vigilant always. Watch what's going on. I'll see you on the next one.